Hello guys and welcome. You've all heard the story of Snow White, but I'm sure the 7 thugs were not part of it. Well, today you'll hear a variant of that story you couldn't even imagine. And not just that, you'll hear it in 15 languages. Every time I start speaking a new one, you'll see and hear this sign. Watch the video till the end and you'll probably recognize most of them and maybe even understand. Alright, are you ready? Allons-y! Once upon a time, there was a kingdom where crime was flourishing. Various mafias, drug cartels, and street gangs were clashing all the time, and the police were helpless. In the shadow of all those unfortunate events, the royal couple was eagerly awaiting a child. One day, the idle queen was throwing lumps of coal at passers-by from the window. When she hit one guy on the head and made him bleed, she jumped for joy. And when she saw coal and blood on the snow, she thought, "눈처럼 하얗고 빛처럼 붉고 석탄처럼 가문아이가 내게 있었다면." And indeed, she soon gave birth to a baby girl. But when the midwife handed the child into her hands, she screamed in terror. "이게 뭔가요? 그가 내가 원한 게 아니야." In fact, she was so terrified that she immediately died of a heart attack. The devastated king named his daughter Snow White. Life was really not easy for the girl. The other children at school were either making fun of her or being afraid of her. One day she complained to her father, the king. "Tout le monde me regarde étrangement, et je ne les blâme pas. Je suis bizarre. Tous les autres enfants ont peur de moi."
Usijali mtoto wangu, kwa sababu tu unafanana na ngagi milima albino. Haimaanishi kuwa wewe ni mgonjwa ya akili. Una akili sana. Hilo ni muhimu zaidi kwangu kuliko tu kitu kingine chochote.
Words were not enough though. As everyone was avoiding her, Snow White was often alone, so she dedicated herself to studying and became very smart. When Snow White turned 18, the king married a woman he had met at a ball. She immediately moved into the castle, and when she saw Snow White, she was startled.
Warum hast du eine Vogelscheuche in deinem Haus?
Huyu ni binti yangu, Snow White. Usiogope, yeye haumi.
Bienvenue, belle-mère. Viens, que je te montre mes livres sur la neurolinguistique et la psychologie des foules. Später vielleicht.
The new queen was withdrawn and secretive. She wasn't even showing much interest in her marriage to the king. She was staying in her room the whole time. There, she installed numerous computers and high-tech equipment. One day, the king unexpectedly walked in while she was watching the security camera footage.
Mambo haya yote ni nini? Kwa nini unahitaji vifaa hivi vyote?
Amateurastronomie ist mein Hobby. Ich beobachte die Andromeda-Galaxie. Sie ist auf Kollisionskurs.
Okay, she could sell that story to him, but not to us. It was more than obvious that she was working on some secret mission, but no one had any idea what she was up to. A few days later, the king was very surprised to see the local sheriff in the queen's chambers. No, it's not what you think. They were both holding some notes in their hands and looking at a computer screen.
Habari za mchana, Sheriff. Unafanya nini hapa? Je, wewe pia ni mnajimu?
Astronom.
Sì, Sua Majestade. A gente está observando o buraco negro no centro da Via Láctea.
Mimi ni mbuzi. Je, nitakuwa na bahati njema mwezi huu?
Definitivamente. Of all her devices, the queen was mostly using some kind of handy magic mirror. It was omniscient. It could accurately answer almost every question. One day, after much calculation and planning, she asked the mirror,
Hallo Google, sag mir, wer ist die klügste Person in diesem Königreich?
你确实很聪明，但是白雪公主比你还聪明。
Was? Wie ist das möglich? Dieser Apparat muss defekt sein. Was für ein billiger Scheißdreck.
As she didn't have time to check the mirror's answer, she immediately called the local hunter and ordered him.
Bring Schneewittchen hinaus in den Wald. Du sollst sie töten und mir Lunge und die Leber zum Wahrzeichen mitbringen.
Aman tanrım, aklınızı mı kaçırdınız? Pamuk Prenses sadece bir çocuktur. Kim neden yapsın ki böyle bir şey? Kralın bundan haberi var mı?
Ich scherze nur. Das ist keine klassische Geschichte.
So, the queen told the hunter to take Snow White to a certain location in the woods and to tell her that she must not return because her life and her father's life and the lives of all the people in the kingdom depended on it.
Wenn du jedoch ein Wildschwein siehst, bring mir seine Leber. Ich bin ziemlich hungrig.
Tamam, hemen gidiyorum.
When the hunter took Snow White into the forest, she was very happy at first.
Je suis très heureux que vous m'ameniez à ce pique-nique. Je vais récolter quelques feuilles pour mon herbier.
But when he raised his rifle, she got terrified and began to weep.
Oh, cher chasseur, laisse-moi la vie. Je sais que je ressemble à un hybride entre un chimpanzé albinos et un fourmilier noir. Mais je ne mérite pas de mourir.
Rahatla, o bayağı yaban domuzunu vuracağım. Karaciğerine ihtiyacım var.
After taking the boar's entrails, he told the girl that she must not return home under any circumstances, that she must hide in the forest and that one day she would understand why.
Hadi git çocuğum, dikkatli ol. Ormanda çok vahşi hayvan var. Sana saldırırlarsa onlara senin yüzünü göster. Bu kurşun geçirmez yeleği al. Her ihtimale karşı.
And so the poor girl found herself all alone in the wilderness. While looking for shelter, she fell into the stream on her hands. Then she tripped and fell into the bushes on her bottom. Then she fell off the rock onto her stomach. Then she fell on a family of hedgehogs and got stabbed in the breasts. Then she fell from the tree on her head. And finally, while jumping over some wooden fence, she fell on her back.
Oh mon Dieu, je me sens comme une méduse. J'ai vraiment besoin de manger et de dormir.
But then, when she raised her head, she saw a house that seemed abandoned. Around the front door, there were boxes with weapons, sex toys, alcohol, and various intoxicants. She broke the code on the door. Well, she was smart, and entered. She saw a table with 7 chairs and 7 plates, and there were 7 beds in the room. When she ate and drank, she lay down in bed.
Je dormirai comme un ours en hibernation.
But she didn't know it was a house used by one of the many local gangs known as the 7 Thugs. Late in the evening, they returned home. When they saw that someone had deciphered the lock, they all reached for their guns. And when they entered the house, they carefully observed all the details.
Кто сидел на моем стуле?
This is Yury, also known as Uncle Smirnov, the notorious alcohol smuggler. ex-member of the gang called Crazy Brothers, wanted on 5 accounts of fraud, burglary, and import of Class A alcoholic beverages.
誰が私の皿から食べたんだ?
This is Haruki-san, also known as Dildo Master, the ill-famed sex toy smuggler, ex-member of the Pink Rabbit Yakuza clan, wanted on 4 accounts of fraud, burglary, and import of dangerous electrostimulation devices.
¿Quién comió de mi pan?
This is Juan Pablo, also known as the Devil, the cruel drug smuggler, ex-member of the cartel called the Grave Diggers, wanted on 15 accounts of robbery, aggravated theft, and Class A drugs possession and trafficking.
Ko je pojeo moju supu?
This is Momchilo, also known as Rat, the vicious blackmailer, extortionist, and robber, ex-member of the gang called the Vultures, wanted on 12 accounts of armed robbery, racketeering, and aggravated assault.
Kuše ka përdorur pirunin tim?
This is Ismail, also known as Mr. Trouble, the infamous arms dealer, ex-member of the gang called the Black Hand, wanted on 6 accounts of public hostility, possession of firearms, and armed robbery.
Chi ha tagliato col mio coltello?
And of course, Don Angelo Ladrone, also known as Godfather, the wicked leader and founder of the group, wanted in 9 countries on 20 accounts of bribery, tax evasion, money laundering, loan sharking, and bank fraud. Oh yes, there was the 7th thug. He resolved the whole mystery.
Look man, dem I wanna sleeping in a fimi bed.
That's Johnny, also known as, well, Johnny. He was just a petty thief and a ganja dealer. He definitely wasn't nasty like the others, but he was loyal and had unique ability to calm everyone down. So they all accepted him as a member. When they got close and saw Snow White on the 7th bed, they all got terrified and hid behind the 1st bed. As they watched her snoring and murmuring in her sleep, they tried to figure out what kind of creature it was.
Осторожно! Это Баба Яга. Она умеет колдовать и летать в ступе. Обитает на границе леса, в избушке на курьих ножках, окруженной забором из человеческих костей с черепами. Она заманивает к себе добрых молодцев и маленьких детей, якобы для того, чтобы их съесть. Ие, корега Годжира десу. Суисей хачуруи, карарикуджо хонюруи ни шинка точуの巨大生物です。ビルほどの大きさでアフリカゾウのような大きな耳を持っています。No, este es el chupacabras. Es una criatura parecida a un reptil, de piel escamosa, de color gris verdoso con manchas negras y de espinas afiladas a lo largo de la espalda y unos enormes ojos rojos que brillan en la oscuridad. Ne, to je Mora. Ona je čudno čovekoliko stvorenje koje luta noću, sedi na grudima zaspalih i siše im krv. Veruje se da postaje od devojke koja je imala odnos sa đavolom i može da se provuče kroz ključaonicu. Jo, kjo është fjerkuqja, zvaritë se 1 metër e gjysmë me gjatë, me lëkurë të kuqe, me kokë të madhe si elefant. Jeton në vende të shkreta dhe të largëta, lidhet rreth bagatisë dhe njerëzve i çpo në kokë dhe i përzen ata. No cretini, questo è Usugiu, è un incrocio tra un essere umano, un mammifero e un rettile. È lungo circa 2 metri, col corpo ricoperto di squame di colore verde olivastro e il viso umano, con occhi feroci e una piccola criniera.
Yeah man, me smoke me coli me no, ba me na see a monster. Me think this gal a the data a the negus. Everyone burst out laughing and told him to stop smoking hallucinogenic plants so much. They waited for the strange humanoid creature to wake up. It was almost noon when Snow White finally rested. They finally realized it was just a girl. Strange looking, but still. Yo baby love, what happened to ya last night? Who are ya? What is your name, baby love? She remembered that the hunter had told her to hide her identity. So she answered.
Je ne sais pas. Apparemment, je souffre d'amnésie. C'est un trouble mental défini en 1994 dans le DSM par un ensemble de critères diagnostiques comme un type particulier de trouble dissociatif. Où suis-je et qui êtes-vous?
The benevolent thugs took pity on the girl. They assumed she might be in trouble, so they offered her to stay with them.
Non ti preoccupare, abbiamo concluso che tu sei solo una povera ragazza, con una grave carenza di vitamina D. Se vuoi provvedere alla nostra casa, cucinare, fare i letti, lavare, cucire e fare la calza e tenere tutto in ordine e ben pulito, puoi rimanere con noi e non ti mancherà nulla. Eh bien, je ne sais pas vraiment. Je n'ai pas l'habitude de travailler autant. Puis-je simplement m'allonger et lire les journaux?
Ты можешь хотя бы готовить кофе и чай.
D'accord.
The next morning, the seven thugs had to run some errands. Don Ladrone said to Snow White.
Noi andiamo a rapinare una banca. Torneremo presto. Tu stai a casa e non aprire a nessuno.
But when the thugs returned home in the evening, they saw that the girl had not made either coffee or tea. They rushed to the bedroom and saw her on the bed where she was, giving pleasure to herself.
Oh, salut les gars. Vous voulez jouer avec moi? Je suis super excité aujourd'hui. J'ai envie d'être traité comme une salope.
А нет! Должно быть, она пила мою специальную водку.
Votre tronc a des propriétés magiques. Je l'aime bien.
This is not what a baby love.
А нет! Я должен продать 10 бутылок за 600 000 рублей. Что я теперь скажу господину Сергеевичу из группы «Сумасшедшие братья»? ちょっと待って、多分彼女はそれを全部飲んではいないよ。あなたはどのくらいの水を飲んだのですか？
8 bouteilles. J'avais très soif. Au fait, pourquoi êtes-vous toujours habillé?
Пиздец! Что нам теперь делать?
Meanwhile, the queen remembered that she hadn't put a listening device on Snow White, which was part of her mysterious plan. So, she put a little microphone in the pinback button. Then, she called the hunter.
Gibt es ein verlassenes Haus in der Nähe des Ortes, an dem du Schneewittchen zurückgelassen hast?
Biri var ama terk edilmiş değil. 7 adam sık sık oraya gelir. Gizli bir eşcinsel kulübü olduğunu düşünüyorum.
Cool, die Schwulen werden sie nicht belästigen. Und vielleicht bringen sie ihr Haar in Ordnung.
The next morning, the seven thugs went to town again. Yury said to Snow White.
Мы собираемся ограбить винный магазин. Оставайся здесь.
Не пускай никого в дом, кроме нас. But as soon as they left, the queen knocked on the door. She disguised herself as an old woman. When Snow White opened the door, she said,
Guten Morgen, ich bin Mitglied einer Hilfsorganisation.
In short, she explained that they were giving campaign pinback buttons to citizens as a sign of solidarity with the homeless, and asked her to wear it for a week. Snow White agreed, and so the queen pinned it on her shirt.
Merci beaucoup. Au fait, vous me semblez familier. Et maintenant, si vous voulez bien m'excuser, je dois dormir. J'ai une terrible gueule de bois.
Prima, das war einfach. But when the thugs returned home in the evening, they saw that the girl was dancing in the kitchen, as if possessed.
Allez les gars, allons danser, 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 danser. Oh no, mira, ella encontró mi coca y la puso en su café por error. Votre sucre a des propriétés magiques. Allons danser, 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 danser.
Diese Nashuga baby love.
Ay, ay, ay. Tengo que vender 100 gramos a 200,000 pesos. ¿Qué le diré ahora al señor Guzmán de los sepultureros?
Čekaj, bato, možda nije sve potrošila. Jeli bre, koliko si ti to kašika šećera stavila u kafu?
87, comme toujours. De puta madre, ¿qué hacemos ahora?
In the meantime, the queen wanted to hear who had Snow White been talking to.
Hallo Google, schließ dich mit dem Mikrofon A267 an und spiele die heutige Aufnahme ab.
无法播放录音。在白雪公主跳舞的时候，她的麦克风从衬衫上掉了下来，被她不小心踩坏了。
Was? Wie konnte sie es zerstören? Was für ein minderwertiger Scheißdreck!
The next morning, the 7 thugs went to town again. Juan Pablo said to Snow White,
Nosotros vamos a asaltar a un cartel rival y robarle su coca. Tú quédate aquí. No dejes que nadie entre en la casa, excepto nosotros.
But when the thugs returned home in the evening, they saw that the girl had made tea only for herself. She was sitting in the kitchen and was very relaxed and satisfied.
J'aime la vie. J'aime tous les êtres et le monde entier. L'amour, l'amour, l'amour. Blazon skirt, wadi ras, look man dem, die gal cook mi coli, me can't believe this, me have so 10 bags at the highest high grade at the ganja. Wa make ya that dead baby love, wadi bamba clat wrong with ya. Me not cook that thing, me smoke that thing. il fume du thé.
Prit, ndoshta ajo nuk I ka hargjuar të gjitha. Pra, sa kese ke futur në qaj?
Quoi? Neuf, comme toujours. Cho, where we Guineda now?
Meanwhile, the queen decided to put a new listening device on Snow White. This time, she hid the microphone in a hair clip. And just as she was about to leave, her husband entered her room. He was clearly worried.
Malkia wangu, umeona Snow White hivi majuzi? Labda alipotea tena kwenye maktaba ya chuo kikuu.
Kein Stress, mein König. Sie sagte, sie müsse für ihre Prüfung in kognitiver Neurowissenschaft viel lernen.
Sawa, natumai atarudi kabla ya galaksi ya Andromeda kutupika.
The next day, the 7 thugs went to town again. Johnny said to Snow White, "Yo, baby love, we are going a debut ganja farm. Because we have it thief, ya understand? Ya need fitana yad, na opindota nobody, so sota we." D'accord. Baby, now worry about that thing. Every little thing we may be alright. But as soon as they left, the queen knocked on the door. This time, she disguised herself even more, so that the girl wouldn't tell her again that she looked familiar. When Snow White opened the door, she said,
Guten Morgen. Ich arbeite für eine Kosmetikfirma.
In short, she explained that she was promoting new products, so she gave her a hair clip and asked her to keep it in her hair.
Merci beaucoup. Au fait, vous me semblez familier. Et maintenant, si vous voulez bien m'excuser, je dois manger. J'ai très faim depuis hier soir.
Toll, das war einfach. But when the thugs returned home in the evening, they saw that the girl had made coffee only for herself. She was sitting in the kitchen and was very depressed. She was sober, but she explained that she had to throw 100 coffee grinders in the garbage because not one of them could grind coffee. Yada! あれらはコーヒーグラインダーではありません。あれらは私が開発したアジア市場向けのバイブレーターです。
Aspetta, forse possiamo riparare i vibratori. Ragazza, dove hai gettato i stimolatori erotici? Je leur ai mis le feu dans la cour. Malheureusement, j'ai aussi accidentellement mis le feu à ma nouvelle pince à cheveux.
Yabai! ピンクラビと一族の年老さに気ばから何をいますか?
In the meantime, the queen wanted to hear who had Snow White been talking to.
Hallo Google, schließ dich mit dem Mikrofon A308 an und spiele die heutige Aufnahme ab.
无法播放录音。白雪公主在院子里焚烧按摩棒时，一不小心连把发夹都烧掉了。
Was? Was bedeutet das? Dieser Apparat spricht Unsinn. Was für ein erbärmlicher Scheißdreck.
The next morning, the 7 thugs went to town again. Haruki-san said to Snow White,
セックスショップを強盗するつもりです。あなたはここにいてください。本当に誰も家に入れないんだよ。
But when the thugs returned home in the evening, they saw the girl standing in the dark in the kitchen. She looked like she had seen a ghost.
Oh là là! C'est incroyable! Nous sommes au centre de l'univers. Je parle à la déesse. Le peuple fée est mon allié.
O majke ti ga spalim čorave! Pa ova ludakinja je pojela moje pečurke. Ja nafi njam njam dis džonđo baby love. Moram bre da prodam pola kile za 600.000 dinara. Šta ću sada da kažem gospodinu Bogdanoviću iz Lešinara? Момент, может быть, она не съела все это. Девушка, сколько грибов ты съел?
Les couleurs!
Lukman, mi nasi Johnjoja. O sunce ti jebem, šta ćemo sad?
Meanwhile, the queen decided to put a new listening device on Snow White. This time, she hid a small microphone in an apple.
Dieses winzige Mikrofon ist wasserdicht. Ich hoffe, die Magensäure zerstört es nicht.
The next morning, the 7 thugs went to town again. Momčilo said to Snow White,
Mi idemo u botaničku baštu da ukrademo nove pečurke. Ti ne mrdaj odavde. Ne otvaraj vrata nikome sem nama.
But as soon as they left, the queen knocked on the door. This time, she put a mask so that the girl couldn't see her face. When Snow White opened the door, she said,
Guten Morgen! Ich arbeite in einem Bio-Supermarkt.
In short, she explained that her company was promoting organic fruit. She gave her an apple and told her to eat it while it was fresh.
Merci beaucoup. J'espère que c'est sans gluten. Et maintenant, si vous voulez bien m'excuser, je veux préparer le déjeuner aujourd'hui. Super, das wird funktionieren.
While the thugs were driving back with the stolen mushrooms, they heard gunfire coming from the direction of their house. As soon as they arrived, they saw Snow White standing with a rifle in her hand and a pile of spent bullet cases.
Oh yo, psej hargjove plumbat e mia moj vajz. Je voulais tirer sur un sanglier et préparer le déjeuner. Udhi puna! Më duhet të shes 20.000 fishek special të destinuar për luftën e tretë ballkanike. Çfarë do t'i them tani zotit Krasniqi nga grupi Dora e Zez? Espera, tal vez no las usó todas. Muchacha, ¿cuántas balas disparaste? 17.000, mais malheureusement, je n'ai tiré que 2 papillons et une sauterelle. Tamar dreci! Gjdo të bëjmë tani. Non preoccupatevi ragazzi. Finora abbiamo risolto ogni problema. Abbiamo rapinato una banca, un negozio di liquori, un cartello rivale, un sexy shop, una fattoria di marijuana e un giardino botanico. Ci riusciremo anche questa volta.
In the meantime, the queen was bursting with pleasure. She called the sheriff and told him,
Hör dir das an. Hallo Google, schließ dich mit dem Mikrofon Y007 an und spiele die heutige Aufnahme ab. Abbiamo rapinato una banca, un negozio di liquori, un cartello rivale, un sexy shop, una fattoria di marijuana e un giardino botanico. Sim! Adeus, 7 bandidos! Finalmente!
Parabéns, detetive! Vamos lá! A operação especial da polícia começa imediatamente.
Mega!
Meanwhile, the thugs were preparing for another trip to town. Ismail said to Snow White,
Ne do grabisim fabrikën e armëve. Ti rri këtu. Mos ja hap derën as kujt përveç nesh.
But then, all of a sudden, police sirens started wailing.
Yo mandim, we must go ya now. Hurry up. Mi just saw Babylon kja everywhere. Dema kam ta gitwi mandim.
But it was already too late. Police vehicles surrounded the house. The 7 thugs immediately barricaded themselves in the house. They were standing behind the windows with guns in their hands. Behind the police van, they saw the king, queen, and sheriff.
Rendam-se agora, bandidos, e pouparemos suas vidas miseráveis. Rastaman, Natras Babylon, shitstem, yo, ja siempre. Silenzio, scemo! Ma che cazzo stai facendo? Eu não estou dizendo isso de novo. Rendam-se imediatamente.
Don Ladrone, ist Ihnen bewusst, dass Sie die Königstochter als Geisel halten?
Minoi, mi seta una mandem.
È vero. Dopo tutto quello che abbiamo fatto per te. Perché ci hai tradito, ragazza?
Al señor Guzmán no le gustan los chivatos, es decir, los delatoros. Ay, 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 chica, si él te encuentra, desmembrará tu cuerpo. Господин Сергеевич утопит тебя в ванне полной водки. Тоширо санга анарубизуде анатао шимегорошимас гошушо самадес. Зоти красничи до дюйме nječindmi pljumba. Gospodin Bogdanović će prvo da kokne tvoga ćaleta, a onda će tebe da kidnapuje i baci u pakao prostitucije.
C'est vrai, je m'appelle Blanche-Neige et je suis une princesse. Mais je ne suis pas une traîtresse. Maintenant, je vais vous le prouver.
The king was also very confused. Only then did he realize that his wife was an undercover police agent who had moved into his castle to run a secret operation from there. Inama ana hunipendi.
Es tut mir leid. Ich habe nur meinen Job gemacht.
By the way, it was a constitutional monarchy, so the king couldn't interfere with government affairs. At that moment, Snow White appeared at the window.
Nous ne nous rendrons pas. Si vous attaquez les bandits, vous devrez me tuer aussi.
Oh meu Deus, Sua Majestade! Eu não sabia que sua filha era tão bonita e sexy. Anafanya nini jamani?
Armes Mädchen, sie leidet eindeutig am Stockholm-Syndrom.
And then, everyone started shooting. Don Ladrone quickly pushed Snow White from the window. Even the sheriff was slightly wounded in the upper arm. Mi bang bang di sheriff, ja man. Ba minewa bang bang di deputy. O que a gente vai fazer agora? Eles não vão se render.
Was? Was willst du, Google?
你现在应该使用你最强的武器，你这大白痴！
Genau. Danke, Google. Achtung, Achtung! Wenn ihr euch nicht sofort ergebt, werden wir euch mit Überschallraketen aus der Erdumlaufbahn treffen.
Sereš bre, blefiraš. Ako to uradite, i Snežana će da pogine. A filha do rei está pronta para morrer pela ordem e pelo progresso.
Comme ci, comme ça.
In that moment of great tension, one man stood between the police and the thugs. Durun, hepiniz dinleyin. Bugün hiç kimse ölmek zorunda değil. Kralı, bu ülkedeki gerçek suçlulara karşı tanıklık yaparsanız, hepinize af teklif etmeye çağırıyorum. He didn't even finish the sentence, and Snow White stepped out of the house, wanting to urge her father and the sheriff to accept the hunter's plan. Alas, some police officer accidentally fired a bullet and hit Snow White in the heart. She fell on the ground. Everyone rushed to her motionless body, and everyone was crying. Her father, the stepmother, the sheriff, and the 7 thugs. With tears in his eyes, the sheriff said he intended to propose to her. But then, the hunter told him to remove her shirt. When he did, he saw the bulletproof vest and realized that she had just passed out. When she opened her eyes and saw the sheriff, she said, "Oh mon Dieu, quel beau gosse!" Branca de Neve, você quer se casar comigo?
Oui, si tu es juste envers les bandits.
And so it was. The 7 thugs testified against the big fish, like Mr. Sergeyevich, Guzman, Krasnichi, Bogdanovich, and the others. The country thus got rid of crime, and instead of going to jail, the thugs were sentenced to do community service. Меня больше не интересует водка. Сейчас я работаю на фабрике детских соков. Я очень счастлив. Ottona no mocha ni kyomi ga naku narimashita. Ima wa kohi grind kojo de hattaraite imasu. Watashi wa totemo shiawase desu. Ya no me interesa la coca. Ahora trabajo en una fábrica de azúcar. Estoy muy feliz. Više me ne interesuju halucinogeni. Sada radim na farmi pečurki. Mnogo sam srećan. Nuk me interesojnë më armët. Tani punoj në një fabrikë ljodrash për familje. Jam e lumtur.
Io invece ho cominciato a insegnare alla scuola di polizia. Hanno davvero bisogno della mia conoscenza. Credetemi, d'ora in poi nessun criminale rimarrà impunito.
Jeman mi stata wakpan di kukumba fam. Ba mi stila smok mi koli, understand? Mi bak at. But that's not all. Not only did Snow White marry the sheriff, but her stepmother really fell in love with the king, so she remained queen. Nke mama wa Snow White ange kuwa hai, ange sema. Yabo, urit tari haggiru chora bago, kyaron hago, yerur nago, chvijikur hago, kurigo nurittar boda mani parahayayo. Ninaamini angefurahi, najua nina furaha sana na wewe. Endlich kann ich mich ausruhen und mit dir glücklich sein, mein Schatz. Nicht wahr, Google?
谢天谢地，再也不会有愚蠢的问题了。
The sheriff became a prince, but he still loved his job. A gente pode passar a lua de mel no acampamento da polícia. Vou ensinar lá a atirar. Ce n'est pas nécessaire. Je peux même abattre un papillon dans les airs. Fikrinizi değiştirirseniz sizinle gideceğim. Tüfekler ve tabancalar konusunda çok tecrübem var. And you know what? They all lived happily ever after. Peace. One love. So, I hope you liked the story. Let me know in the comments. Also, who was your favorite character? Did you recognize all the languages? If not, aucun problème. You'll find them all in the description below. That's all for today. The new story is coming soon. Until then, stay well and bye-bye. Oh yes, one more thing. S'il vous plaît, abonnez-vous à ma chaîne.